This immune-boosting soup has been used for thousands of years, and you can still benefit from it today.
Introducing the Parameta Bliss Podcast, a show dedicated to unraveling the mysteries of achieving optimal health naturally as you transition into perimenopause and menopause. Get ready to join your host, Dr. Seth Yates, an experienced naturopathic doctor, acupuncturist, and kinesiologist, as he shares his wealth of knowledge acquired from over 40,000 patient visits and 15 years in working with perimenopausal females. Welcome to the Parameta Bliss Podcast.
Hey, this is Doc Yates. Welcome to the Parameta Bliss Podcast, brought to you by ParametaBliss.com. And today we're going to discuss a soup. Yes, we're not discussing hormones today. We're taking a quick break to discuss a soup. And this particular soup has been used during what I guess tourist cities would call the gray seasons, the in-between seasons, the change of seasons. I guess they're the seasons they don't really get credit as their own season. They're like spring, which is in between winter and summer, and then you get fall, the transition. They're like transitional seasons where there's big swings in temperature, and they're the seasons when people get sick, which is why this is called change of season soup. This is a soup that has been used in Chinese medicine for thousands of years, and you can still use it today to get these same benefits. Now, there's not many ingredients in this soup. Now, keep in mind, here's an important distinction. They call it a soup. It's more something we today would call an herbal tea. What they used to do is take these herbs and put it into the soup so they would actually cook. So it's like they were blending herbal teas. I personally really like the idea of getting more things done at once. They kind of mastered this. They were taking herbs and food and everything. They were putting it all together into one big soup pot, and they took it all in one go. So now we predominantly use this more as herbal teas than we do as soups. And I'm going to discuss, there's 4 herbs they traditionally used in this soup, and some of them I have swapped out for different ones. But there's something called Codonopsis. So let's just dive right into it. We're going to talk about these 4 different herbs, the benefits of this soup, and how you can use this to spring and fall to help boost your immune function. So number 1, Codonopsis. Now, Codonopsis is often called poor man's ginseng because it's an energy tonic like ginseng. It's just not as strong, which means, therefore, it's a lot more affordable, hence the term poor man's ginseng. So, in Chinese medicine, Codonopsis is used to increase qi. And while you can think of qi as energy, at the same time, qi has a big benefit towards your immune system, because when you're low in energy, your immune system is also weakened. Now, when we think of energy here in the West and energy tonics, rather than thinking of energy tonics, we're often thinking of stimulants, things like caffeine, guaranine, Red Bull, coffee. Those are energy stimulants, not energy tonics. In Chinese medicine, things that stimulate your energy are generally more, they actually help increase your body's production of energy rather than just stimulate it. I always give the analogy of imagining a racehorse, and you are the racehorse, and a stimulant is like whipping that racehorse to run faster, and a tonic is feeding the racehorse really good oats so that it's healthy and it can run faster. That's the analogy. So, qi tonics are the healthy oats that your body needs for energy. In fact, the description of qi, like the little Chinese character for qi, is actually, I believe, a drawing of a bowl of rice with steam coming off of it. It's like the energy coming off of food. That is qi. Now, Codonopsis doesn't just stimulate qi, it also helps a lot with blood. And in Chinese medicine, blood is also extremely important for energy, for your immune function, for all of those things. So it's a qi tonic and a blood tonic, and it is the first ingredient in the change of season soup. The next one, if there's any herb in this formula that you may have heard of before, it's called astragalus. Astragalus is an herb that's really good it's been studied for immune function, and it's been found to really, really, really do a good job for stimulating your immune function. So much so that if you are someone who actually has an autoimmune condition, astragalus they've been concerned that it's contraindicated in those situations because it might overstimulate your immune function. Now, these are an autoimmune condition of people where their immune system is not acting appropriately and is attacking itself. And they're worried that certain things that stimulate your immune function could make that worse. Now, the vast majority of people do not have autoimmune conditions, and in which case, astragalus is a great formula. I use it a lot for people for immune function. I use it a lot for digestion because it works really well for digestion. And honestly, when it comes to naturopathic medicine, anything that works well for digestion is basically good for the whole body. Think of digestion as like, if it's off, you're not absorbing food, you're not getting nutrients, therefore you can't build any energy, build any blood, get anything. So it's kind of that expression like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. What's good for digestion is good for everything else. And astragalus is good for digestion and good for your immune system. If you ever get to see it in a Chinese store, which chances are that's not the form you'd be taking it anymore, but it's an herb in it. The cool thing with Chinese medicine is that to help the herbs stand out, because so many herbs look the same, it's like that's a root, there's another root. They process each of the herbs to look differently so that you can easily identify the herbs when you're picking them out for your formulas. So for astragalus, they pound it flat and it looks like a tongue depressor like you'd see in your doctor's office, like a white tongue depressor with rounded edges. So it really stands out. Now the next herb that's in the formula is something called Dioscorea. Dioscorea they use in Chinese medicine to improve your lung health, and I use it a lot in clinic for people to reduce stress and muscle tension. It's very commonly used for muscle tension, and including muscle tension that you'd see for females, say with like menstrual cramps. I use it a lot for people with stiff necks. You give it to them in their formula before bed, and it helps loosen them up with a little magnesium. So it reduces stress and improves your lung strength. Now, in Chinese medicine, one of the main first forms of when your body is under attack from a virus or an invader is the strength of your lungs. So this is kind of like the first, building up that first line of defense. And Dioscorea does that. Now, the last herb in the formula is a type of berry called lychee berries. And these, maybe you've tried these before. They're actually you can get them if you've ever been through like a Chinese supermarket. They're called lychee berries. They have this like thin kind of skin over them. It almost looks like the inside of like a grape, like a clear kind of grape. They're very tasty, extremely tasty berries. These little red berries. No, actually, they're these little red. My apologies. They're these little red berries when they're dried, and yeah, they're really tasty, and they're extremely high in antioxidants. Extremely high in antioxidants, and they're also good for liver function and immune function. Now, there are times in practice when I make a formula for someone where I swap this out for a different berry called Schisandra berry, which is a little bit of a different effect, but is also good for your immune function and good for liver function. But the thing is, when I use it in the springtime, Schisandra has a really good effect for also excess histamine, which means I can use it for spring allergies from snow molds and as tree pollen starts to come out. So, lychee berries is the actual formula. Sometimes I'll swap that out for Schisandra berries. So, just to review, this soup, which you can drink as an herbal tea, will improve your immune function. It will help reduce stress. It will build up your lung strength. It will help with detoxification. It will improve your digestion. It's high in antioxidants. And this is extreme. This is why they use it during this season to help prevent illnesses, viral infections. They don't use the term viral infections in traditional Chinese medicine. They would call it like wind pathogens, hot and cold pathogens. They use the different terminology, but it's the same thing. Now, here's the thing. This is what you use from a prevention standpoint, which means you'd be taking this on a more of a daily basis. But when you get symptoms and you're actually getting sick, what you use to prevent is not the same thing you use to treat. So to treat, what you'd be doing is then we'd switch people over to our antimicrobial formulas or to our antiviral formulas. and it's a completely different formula. But if you're looking for something to stay healthy during the change of seasons and prevent getting sick, consider the Change of Seasons soup. And it's so popular, you can Google it, you can get it anywhere. We have it at the office. And I hope you can start using this and getting the benefits from this every spring and every fall. Hope this was helpful. This is Doc Yates signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to the Paramena Bliss podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and visit paramenobliss.com for more valuable information on how you can thrive during your transition through perimenopause. Join our community of like-minded women who are dedicated to achieving optimal health naturally, and stay up to date with the latest tips, tricks, and advice from Dr. Seth Yates. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Paramena Bliss podcast.